Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check, waifu, King Telliano. Is that you?
254, what's up?
This is episode 254 of Mic Check Waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu is where you can get early access, meaning you can get access to the video version of this podcast on Monday before the Tuesday podcast episode releases to everybody. You get access to our conversational podcast, The After Story. We just released a new After Story episode titled Free Will After Story 76 titled Free Will and Guilty Pleasure Games. Make sure that if you're a Patreon supporter of ours, you link your Spotify to your Patreon so you get access to the After Story RSS feed to get all the bonus podcast episodes there. Thank you so much for supporting us. We couldn't do this without our Patreon producers. Shout out to the Patreon producers that I had pulled up. There you go. Christian, our guy, the archivist. We appreciate you. Rob from Dad Needs to Talk podcast. Fear. Johnny from Shogo High. You know what? Quick pause. Congratulations to Shogo High for transitioning to the podcast space. So Ked the Pro, Rob J, Johnny, y'all support us so much. We supporting y'all all the way over to y'all podcast journey. So congratulations to that. That's awesome.
Welcome, gang.
That is a great place to be. Shout out to Ked the Pro from Chaotic Culture. Explicitly been commenting on the YouTube videos. We see you, brother. We miss you. All for One Matt, Mazer, Altor, Monique Williams, Nachi, Semi Sensei, Frozen, Rob Stone, and our guy last but not least, T Money Fingers. We appreciate y'all for producing this and many episodes of the podcast. We couldn't do it without y'all. Now, May 26th is the Mic Check Waifu Live 9, where we record a episode of the podcast live. So 255 will be live on May 26th at 10:30 CT Central Time. Make sure you guys head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Mic Check Waifu. Get subscribed so you know when we go live. Join us for a live episode. Ask questions, communicate with others, talk about anime. The usual, you know the usual. Thank y'all so much for supporting us over there. We appreciate that too. Now, big episode for you today. But before we get into that, Tell, how we feeling?
Oh, bro. So I'm gonna start it off with I've been good. Personally, I've been good. Inner Houston, I don't know what's going on out there. We had no idea that storm was coming for those of y'all who may have been affected by it. We hope that you got your power back. I hope that as many of y'all are in the best possible situation you can be in after that as possible. You know what I mean? Because that was really sudden. Out here in my area, it turned black real quick out here too, but we didn't get half of that rain and flooding or tornado warnings or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope that everyone is safe, or everyone who can be is safe and getting themselves in better positions. But other than that, personally, I've been good. It's been a really good week. How about you, bro? What's happening with you, man?
Not too bad. Great week. Very, very great week. Looking forward to the show this week. I was looking forward to the show this week all week. Sadly, I was upset because we didn't get a job list this week. So I was looking forward to seeing what would be the results of the Turning Point 3, but I digress. Outside of that, man, I'm doing really, really good. Ready to get the show cracking.
It was still a great week for anime.
100%. Speaking of anime, Mike Check Waifu Waifu is the anime podcast. It's brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT. So, without further ado, let's do further. What was your episode of the week this week?
So, I gotta preface this a little bit. I watched Unnamed Memory, and I watched Reincarnated Aristocrat back to back. And I watched Unnamed Memory, and I was like, "Oh my god, this episode of the week." Which ain't. I'm not sure. But then I watched Reincarnated Aristocrat, and that was the first one this week that almost put a tear on my eye. So
almost
that is
crazy.
Yeah, crazy, right? That's my episode of the week. Because that one, it was just too much going on, bro. It was too much going on. I loved everything, and we're full circle, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it was going to be my episode of the week if you didn't pick it, but you did, so I'm glad you did. It wasn't no almost for me. I was fucking crying. Like, it wasn't a thug tear. It wasn't. I'm a man enough to admit it. It wasn't a thug tear. It wasn't shit about it. It was full blown tears watching the damn episode. This show is going down as one of the top shows this season, hands down. It was animated beautifully. The emotional beats was perfect. The full circle was brilliant. Everything about that episode was absolutely perfect. So, I'm glad you gave it episode of the week. My episode of the week is actually Chilling in Another World with my level 2 super cheap powers. Yeah. Because Philo popped the fuck off. And it was an incredible episode. This, as soon as I watched it on Monday, I'm like, yeah, this is probably gonna be my episode of the week if nothing else comes out better. Which Reincarnated Aristocrat did come out better, but the super cheap powers, I was hoping that you picked Aristocrat so I can pick super cheap powers because this episode was spectacular and this show is really, really, really good. You would think it'd fall into the category of just like that middling show like Remaster and Gate, like the new Gate. Like those fall under like the mid stuff that we love, the middling shows that we love, or as we say, the mad decent shows we love. But this one is actually above that to me. Yeah. Great cast of characters, great story and progression, and just all around situation. I'm loving it. So those are the episodes of the week this week.
Now, I do want to say 100%, bro. I'm so happy we in agreement with this. Because this was a good week to choose episode of the week. And I'm going to tell you that chilling with my level 2 cheat powers, watching the episode was intense because I wasn't expecting that, but I kind of was because I watched a little bit of that preview. I didn't think he was gonna go off like that, bro.
Oh yeah, I didn't even watch the preview, so seeing it was like, damn. And
that was insane.
And then her getting excited about it, like, yeah, I love that he's showcasing his power for me. But then again, when I think about it and it flashes back, and I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but it was great. It was just great. It was just a great episode. Honestly,
episode 7, right? Episode 6.
Yeah. Let me touch on Unnamed Memory real quick because I want to say it was Saphir. Saphir brought it out like he wasn't feeling this episode, and I 100% agree with him for a myriad of reasons. I don't think this episode was that good. I think this was a downfall for this particular show. It fell off of a cliff with this particular episode, and the reason is because of the structure of it. Now I don't want to get into it because of spoilers. So I'm going to recommend that we add it to spoiler talk in the second half of the show.
Okay.
Because I think it's a discussion that needs to be had here with this particular episode. Because it was very, very strange. So we can get to that a little bit later. And then Kaiju number 8. I think we should add that to spoiler talk too.
Okay. All right.
Because I got a lot to say about that.
What's in spoiler talk?
Yep. And then anything that we want to say spoilerized for the show that we're reviewing today, we could add it there as well. So in the second half of the show. So if you haven't gotten a chance to watch it, shout out to Dad Needs to Talk podcast. Shout out to everybody that gave us recommendations. Those recommendations are very, very helpful for this. Make sure you join our Discord so you can be a part of the show and recommend some stuff. But we got a lot of recommendations in our Discord forums on what we should review, but we got one from Dad Needs to Talk, And the reason why I chose this one is because Saphir said he hopes we choose this one so he can get out of the list. So that's 2 producers hoping we choose this particular show. So we chose it. It's called Acca 13. Let me get the full title, because the full title is Acca 13 Territory Inspection Department. Is the show that we're reviewing today. So for the uninitiated, Mic Check Waifu, we kind of predicate ourselves on our reviews because our reviews I feel are very unique when it comes to like the anime review podcasting scene. Like I don't see anybody go, I guess, this objective while still being subjective within the objectivity of our review scale. But we have a review scale where we rate 5 categories based on a 20-point scale. So the 5 categories are animation, sound design, pacing, plot, and characters. We rate those 5 categories using the 20-point scale. So for example, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, etc. And then we take the averages of all those scores and we average it out into one score per host. So Polow's average score could be 7.5, Tails could be 8.5. And then we bring those together to make the overall Mic Check Waifu scale, or score, sorry. So without further ado, let's talk about Acca 13 Inspection Territory Department. General thoughts.
Okay.
I'll start with general thoughts if you don't mind.
Go ahead, bro.
What a crazy, interesting show. And what I mean by that is like this, I was going into this looking at it like, I don't know if I'm liking this art style. That dissipated after episode 2. And then I'm like, I don't know if I would enjoy this story. That dissipated after episode 3. I think this show is so unique in which is in its storytelling in this world that I find it to be one of the most entertaining shows I've seen in a very long time. And I feel like it's doing something that most, I guess you can call it mystery or detective shows do. It's doing the opposite. Most detective and mystery shows, they trip over themselves. Like, what was that one that came out a few seasons ago? Like I think it was last year or a year before. ID Invaded. Yeah. I think that one trips over itself a lot, while this one does not. It's a very streamlined, straightforward show and have you thinking many different thoughts until they give you the answer, and then you think, and you okay, oh, so that's why. And it's like a, I don't know, it's a satisfying feeling watching this show and kind of getting through it. Like I don't think anybody should go into this knowing anything about it. I think that's the best way to watch this show, truly, because if you know nothing about it, then you'd be like, oh, like this is actually interesting, because like I said, the world building is fantastic. And the last thing I say before I pass it to Tell is, this is the best dub cast I've heard in an anime since like, I don't know, man. This dub cast was fucking incredible.
Minute comedy.
Yes, accurate, because this dub cast was perfect on every aspect. Not a one got on my, like, it was just brilliant. It was perfect dub cast. Tell, how'd you feel about it?
All right. So here's a very specific thought. This is kind of spoiler into how I feel about the show in general. And it's very reminiscent of what you said. I was not sure if I enjoyed the pacing of this anime until I found out that it was kind of perfect for this anime. Yeah. And the thing is that this is one of those shows that really feels like you judge it as you're going, and that judgment shifts, and you're like, okay, this works for this, right? Yes. Yes. So I agree with everything that Polow said, because the art style though I wasn't bothered by the art style. But I'll even say like the characters for me, there were all of the like surrounding characters to me were very like interesting. They made me feel like I was looking for something shifty. in terms of trying to understand what the meaning of this is. What's the plot? What's the next step? And the show did a really good job of not telling you anything too soon.
Yes.
They didn't tell you anything before you needed to know it. And it felt like the whole time, I need to know something, bro. I need to know something. Like, and I'll tell you, there was a point and I was like, I don't think I'm enjoying this show. And then they feed you some information and you're like, okay, well, that's interesting. That just feels a little interesting. Then you watching the show and it's like they drop these very subtle hints through the entirety of the show. And I'm not even gonna say subtle, because once you like kind of see it, it's like, oh, it's not all that subtle. But it's like once they kind of like dropped it in a way that was very digestible but easy to return to that information in a sense.
It was like the biggest question you ask is why.
Yeah, why? The whole time.
The whole question is like, why? Why the fuck?
But once you get it, it's like, okay, that's why. That's why.
Yes.
And that's what I think you're trying to really get at. Because it's even like the art style. You kind of like, why this art style? And you go back and like, okay, well, that's kind of why, I guess. Like, that makes sense. It fits the Lupin the Third kind of look. And it even gives off a little bit of that kind of aesthetic and vibe or the vibe and everything. And there's a lot to it. But the show, I think, is actually... I agree. You don't want to go in knowing too much about what the overall direction of the show is. Right.
So it's going to be hard to talk about this one without giving anything away, because it's just, I think it's, I'm gonna be honest, and I guess slight spoilers. I think it's a special show because of that direction where it leads you. And the funny thing is I when we were reviewing it, the day I picked to watch the episodes, quote unquote, was the day that I had at least anime. So it was Wednesday for me in particular. Wednesdays I have one show to watch. So I'm like, okay, let me turn on Acca 13 and see how many I can get through. I ended up watching it the entire day. Like I did not want to stop it. Like there's no way there's no way I could, because I'm just like, why? And it always felt like the why was the leading reason for wanting to continue, because the intrigue was there, right? So like I'm watching it, something to happen. I'm like, but okay, why? And it was like it was not a bad why. It was but why would this happen this way? Or why is this particular thing happening in this way? And it's like, what the fuck? Why? It's a big show of why that is super intriguing. Now, what I found to be the most unique is the world, the different districts. I guess we can go into that. The different districts being essentially an entire country, even though they're all within the same country. It's a territory that's about the size of a country with 13 districts, and these 13 districts are literally so unique, vastly different from each other. And that was fucking fun. That was fun to see like these different places and how the agriculture work here, or the economy works here, or what this particular district know and don't know. It was the most intriguing world I've seen in a very, very long time. Very, very fun. It was like very bite-sized too. Like I don't need it anymore.
Yeah, and I definitely 100% agree that this should be, well, I would hope that the story overall doesn't continue too much further, other than just understanding like where things stand as of now, because they did a very good job of like kind of capping everything off at the end. What I like to think about the most in this show so far is just that political intrigue, the political maneuvering, because it's all about, like you said, when you get into those different territories and understanding what it's about. And oddly enough, everyone kind of has the same goal. Everyone we kind of meet and interact with in this anime, they have the same goal. They have the same intentions, just different ambitions that's driving them towards that goal. and it makes the perspective of everything so like appropriate in a sense. It's like, let's be real, the world, we all just want to be happy. We all want to not have too many problems. We want these things, and that's kind of what this show shows, is that there's so much misunderstanding in terms of things like what everyone wants. But when we get to like how the show delivers these, like you said, these bite-sized pieces on each territory and where things are going, they do it in this manner, which like is very digestible, and you're still left wondering like, okay, now why though? Why did this scene happen? Like when you, even in the beginning, that very opening scene, slight spoiler with the lighter being missing, it's like, okay, so why is our main character this perspective? And I'm even thinking, I hate to say it, I'm even from the beginning, I'm like, okay, is our main character like a bad guy or something like that? I'm just like, what's going on that kind of facilitates what's happening here? But it's the political maneuvering and the intrigue there. So the show, it thrives in that part of its greatness easily.
Yeah, like even small shit matters in this show. Very small shit, like judging people for smoking cigarettes, and not in the way you think, not because they're disgusting, nasty things to ingest into your body health wise, but they're like the reason, like, oh you smoking cigarettes, oh you got it, huh? Like that kind of that perspective is very important into the show, and everything that's being said in every episode is very important. And that's why I would strongly recommend, if you're going to watch this one, watch it dubbed. For one, the dub cast is spectacular, as I said earlier, but it's way easier to keep track and to digest everything within the dub, because it's so politically and word driven. It's definitely word driven show. But
the dialogue there, it's the conversations and dialogue, how it carries out is all. This is like top tier, in terms of that specifically, and that is a thing that we love. Obviously, in Mic Check Waifu, is we love good dialogue, and I think this show does that well. Like that dialogue is crazy.
Let's get started with the review, Tel. All right, starting off with animation. So animation is us grading the art style, visual direction, the scenery, and the overall viewing experience of the show, Acca 13 Territory District Department. You can go ahead and start with animation, Tel.
So visually, I really do like the art style. Now, when did this come out though? It was like
2017.
Okay. For the time frame of its release, and I'm not trying to be like too picky here, I think that some of the framing and whatnot could have been better. But as a whole, I actually think it was above average. So I gave it a 8.
This is not my favorite art style, so this is going to be a very subjective review for me. This art style is not my favorite. The animation was fine though. There was a scene where there were 3 subordinates walking that was so well animated, but the rest wasn't like that. So
that's right.
Yep. And in its consistency, it wasn't very consistent for me personally. And probably my least favorite part is the art style, and this is due to my own personal subjective feeling about it. I've never been a fan of the Lupe-esque art style. Never sit well with me. So I'm gonna give it a 6, just because it's just not for me. So unfortunately, it's a little rough, but I can't. It's just me. I will say, however, I take it back. I'm gonna go 7, and I'm gonna go 7 only because of I love the design of the women in this show. Like the women designs were brilliant. So all the dudes look weird to me, and then the women designs were like normal, if lack of a better word. So let's go 7. Sound design. So,
are you starting there, Polow?
Yeah. So sound design is the soundtrack, the composition, the sound effects, and how well it all tied together with the visuals. Some of my favorite one of my favorite things about the show is the music. And I found myself, as I was watching it, normally when I watch shows, I don't think about the fact that we have a review coming up. I try to go into it watching it as neutral and natural as possible. But every time I watch this show, I'm like, this fucking music is incredible. And the music for the different territories and the music in the different situations, especially when shit gets figured out, it's brilliant. And then me personally, I'm going to factor in the dub, how well the dub was like fucking cast and directed, and the voice actors' performances was so well done. So for me, the sound design was some of my favorite things about this entire show. So I'm gonna go 9. And the reason why it's not higher than a 9 is only because I hated the intro and I hated the outro music. Both of them were, to me, not good. But however, I will say this. This is off a little side tangent real quick, but the way they did the outro preview to the next episode, where they had the guy narrating it and the guy is being one our main character's like best friend, the way he narrated it, and it was like, so you're getting I don't want to say anything that's gonna be just getting be spoilers, but he would just say something about our main character, and it'd correlate with what's going on next. It was fire. Sound design, Tell, how did you feel about it?
So there were a lot of things I really, really liked about this. I can agree with the outro and intro. They were not necessarily bops or favorites for me. What I did particularly really, really, really enjoy though was the voice acting, obviously. Now I did subs and dubs.
Okay.
And specifically, I think it was episode 3. It was either episode 3 or episode 4. Watched it twice, sub and dub. It was the one where there was a little bit of an uproar, I guess.
Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
That episode, listen to it subbed and dubbed. It was good in both. It was really good in both. And I will say this, maybe the Japanese one wasn't as good because like I watched it in dub first, so I went back and rewatched it in sub. So I feel like maybe the Japanese one wasn't quite hitting as well as the dub one. But in that episode, man, you know when you see the best friend and stuff like that, it was so like the voice was there, and it felt like I know what's going on here, and you kind of get a glimpse of an idea of something. And even in the sub, you get it. It's just maybe because of the uproar of the moment, it didn't quite land as well. So I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, but the sub was also, like I say, I think the sub was also really, really good.
All right. Next up will be what Tell is starting with, and that's pacing. So pacing is the episode to episode strength, the continuity, and how well the story developed and unfolded as the series went on. It's you.
I know. I don't care what you give this, Polow. I'm just gonna tell you now.
Normally how this goes?
I stand by my statement with the fact that I was very unsure of this pacing in the beginning. At the end, just straight up, I was like, I want to give it a 10 out of 10 at the end. And I think that was important in the pacing of this, in terms of how the story unfolded and the information was relegated. I gave it I want to give it a 9.5 out of 10. And I say for the overall, like how the story was rolled out, yes, it was really good in terms of its delivery. But because I felt uncertain about the delivery of the pacing in the beginning, but felt like, boom, it hit the nail on the head at the end. I feel like something needed to trigger me to say this is a perfect pacing thing. Completely, but I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10 because I felt like the delivery was it was on point, but there was something about it that just wasn't perfect. Like not absolutely perfect. It was there, but it wasn't 100% there.
The pacing was incredible, right? To me personally, because it was the fact that each episode left a sting. Now this would probably be different if this is a week to week watch. So that's kind of something you want to factor in, but I can't factor it in when I was able to binge it all in one day. And then binging it all in one day, it was it was brilliant because it always left me wanting more in a way in a way I was still satiated. So it was like, okay, it was almost episode of the week-esque, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the episode of the week esqueness, making up words and shit, in this esqueness, the overall story was still churning like stronger than the quote unquote episode of the week part, right? Like, it's called Territory Inspection Department. He's inspecting departments, okay? Or territories. He's inspecting territories. But that mattered so little to the overworlding concept of everything, and it was just flowing so well that I love how they, again, it's all about respecting my time. Like the way they respected my time as far as the travel goes. They even mentioned how travel went. I think the pacing was extremely well done, and I agree with you wholeheartedly that it was extremely close to perfect. I can't go 9.5 because I think a perfect pacing to me is like Demon Slayer episode like 1 and then episode 2. Those were like perfect paced episodes to me. It wasn't quite there. Very fucking close though. It was so good as far as pacing goes. Now, plot, which is me.
Hold on, what was your score?
I gave it a 9. Did I say 9?
No, I didn't hear you say anything. I was trying to hear what you said. All right,
my fault. If I missed it, I gave it a 9. I typed it in our score thing, but I guess I might have not said it. All right. So moving on to plot. Plot is the overall story, how well it was written, and how well the story resonate with us as the viewer. This is my favorite part about it because I was invested, extremely enthralled, captivated, if you will, with what the story was, with the question of why. And I always say this about Slice of Life in particular, and now I'm saying this about this particular mystery / detective type thing, is it has to give me some type of emotion. And the emotion I felt was a sense of almost frustration in the way of like, for the character, not necessarily like for the show itself, but for the character, like, because the character's like, yo, well, I don't know what the fuck this, while something is happening. So it's like, I felt that frustration, or I felt the confusion. And even when it was all like wrapped up, or like, dude, it's bringing me back to pacing, because even when it was revealed to the twist was revealed to him, he was like, okay. And it was just, okay. It was pacing was well done, but the plot is like my favorite thing of the entire show. What I will say about the plot is it was, and the reason why I won't give it a 10 out of 10, and I'm only going to give it a 9.5, is because it was very convenient. Mm-hmm. It was a very convenient plot. But outside of that convenience, it was told and written so fucking well that it's hard to deny it anything below that, in my personal opinion.
All right, and I do actually wholeheartedly agree with you in terms of like, it was told so well, yet it was convenient. And the convenience of it was the fact that I guess it was kind of predictable in some of its convenience, but there was still so much why. And I feel like that's why we both love this. Is that yes, it was convenient. Yes, you could kind of predict what the story might turn out to be once you got a little bit more information. But you still had to ask why. You didn't know if you were sure ever, yes, until you got that clarity and became sure or certain. I did not give it a 9.5. I also did not think it was perfect. I gave it a 9 out of 10. And that for me is because, like you said, it was convenient. And the ending didn't leave me with like pure awe. I was like, I mean, it makes sense.
That's cool. Yeah.
It makes sense. But it was also like you said again, convenient. It makes sense, but it was convenient. So I ended up, because of the ending specifically, like if I'm not sure what they could have done to change that specific last 15 minutes or 12 minutes or whatever it was. I think it was the last 12 minutes. I'm not sure what they could have done to fully do something to make me say, wow, okay, I'm giving it a 10 now. But it made sense. So it's there, but it's a 9.
What's so crazy about it is that outside of maybe one district, nobody else really knew what was going on. I love that. Like I love the narrative between, like, the narrative was damn near perfect outside of the conveyances, and our conveyances I think are slightly different because I loved where it ended. Like I like that ending a lot, albeit very convenient. Great ending because of the repercussions and the goal of it all. Like it was like a full circle thing. The goal of it all was to what? I'm not gonna say what the goal of it all was. Y'all gonna have to figure that out y'all on your own. But it's all about just this one particular thing that, like you said, everybody wants. Everybody wants this one thing. What's the best way of getting that one thing or keeping that one thing? I guess is the better way of saying it. And they figured it out, and it was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Even like, well, this can go into the next part, but so let's go into it. Characters is the relatability, the overall development and growth of the characters and side characters, main characters and side characters. How did you feel about the characters of the show?
Oh my God. I loved a lot of them. I loved meeting the actual King Falk.
Yes.
And how he, the characters, so many of the characters were really, really good. Now, I'm going to say this, but also contradict myself.
Okay.
I'm going to say this and contradict myself. I loved the characters. Even though it was like, I love the characters. It was like my favorite part, but I don't think they were perfect. I think other parts were objectively better. Mm-hmm. The characters were probably still like my favorite part. So my score is going to reflect what I think the characters are rated, but the characters were actually some of my favorite parts in terms of like relationship stuff. How the characters held each other, and even like when we get like history and backstory of the characters, it built so much information for me on those characters that the characters felt complete in a lot of ways to drive the story. The intermingled relationships in terms of whether it be political, biological, anything, right? All the characters that you meet, they seem to serve an actual purpose. Was I sold on every character and their ambitions? Not all the time, but I think the story did a really good job of tying them all together in a really nice knot, and keeping it concise. I end up giving the characters an 8.5 out of 10.
Wow, okay. Not expecting that. Okay. Yeah, it's funny because, like you said, the characters are spectacular. But I don't think they would be as spectacular as they are if it wasn't for the plot or the world building and the political nature of it all. However, there was times where we got mostly other people outside our main character, and I was just as invested, just as involved, just as in it deep. Like, it's incredible. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. That's what I meant to say that too, though. I meant to say that there were times so heavily invested with other characters that the main character was no longer my focal point for some of it. Exactly. It was like I really wanted to get more of the other characters. That's what I meant to say, and that's why it's 8.5 out of 10. I wanted more of some other things in comparison to the main character. I feel like we didn't get enough of it, so that's why it's 8.5 out of 10, not higher.
I think that's the best part about it. I think the fact that we got more of other characters than some of the main, like there was like 3 episodes where the main character was in for like maybe 2 minutes, which I found to be extremely entertaining and extremely fun to watch. There was a lot of that. I think it was enough of it, to be honest. I think it was perfectly enough of it because of the situation. And even with like the antagonist, if you will, I think I'm not gonna say anything about. I'm gonna just say antagonists with plural. I'm gonna say the antagonists. Like one of them sucked. Like was absolutely ass in a way like that's not good. Like it wasn't that he was a good bad guy. It was just he was a bad guy in my opinion. The one antagonist was great. He was great, and then everything else was damn near perfect. So with that, I'm gonna go 9.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to go 9 because I do think they're not the characters are not as good as the plot. The plot is carrying the characters for sure. But I don't think the characters are even bad. And the fact that there's so many good characters that are well developed, that are well written, that is spectacular. And if it wasn't for the antagonists, the one of the antagonists, it probably would have been better. Because it was again convenient and cliche and he was kind of corny. So that is where I will go there. So with that being said, and before we get into our spoiler talk, wrapping up Acca 13, great show. I do think is one of the best. Honestly, it might be one of the second best recommendations we gotten.
It was definitely a solid recommendation.
It's definitely one of the solid recommendations. I only say second because the first one was what was the other one that we did? T Money Fingers recommended. Was it that?
Wait, which one was that? Hold up.
Oh, I got the list. I'm a stupid idiot. A place further in the universe.
Oh,
like that one's just better, and that one's just fantastic. But this is another great recommendation, and this is one that I can strongly recommend to anybody that likes anime. Like any and everybody that likes anime, I think would like this show. Easily a recommend. Overall,
it's a very good what do they call it? It's a very good slow burn.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a very good slow burn. It's very rewarding in the end.
Yes.
In terms of overall what you're getting in the package.
And even the Doran.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like in the whole package, because how it unfolds is very rewarding. It's like a growing gift, if that makes sense. Like every time you get some more information, it's a gift, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, this is one of them that I think it gets better as you get closer to the end. And as you get more information provided to you and whatnot, very good slow burn. I'm gonna say it's definitely worth the watch. I don't know about for everybody, but definitely for if you want something that has that I guess almost that next level conversation in terms of what that might look like, I guess.
And because of the world building is so good to me, I think anybody can watch it in the dubbed. Any and everybody can watch it, and I think you will be able to follow along. You'll know what's happening, and you will ask those questions. Why now?
For the quick jump in, meatheads, you think they watching this and loving it?
Yeah, 100%. Because it's given, even though it's not actiony like
the dialogue, the politics are all action. You know what I mean?
Yes, very very strong action, and it's again you can hang on every word that somebody says. Okay, we can gush about it all day. Now, to get to the scores, as a reminder, like I said, we average these 5 categories into each of our individual scores, and then we take that individual scores and we average it out to a score for the Mic Check Waifu review. So, animation, as a recap, animation, I gave it a 7. Tel gave it an 8. Sound design, I gave that a 9. Tel gave it an 8.5. Pacing, I gave it a 9. Tel gave it a 9.5. Plot, I gave it a 9.5. Tel gave it a 9. Characters, I gave it a 9. Tel gave it an 8.5. Which brings Polow overall score to 8.7. Which gives Tel overall score an 8.7. Which makes Mic Check Waifu overall score an 8.7. Which I do think is very, very fitting for such a great show. And it's 8.7 even. I would recommend this to anybody. I think it's just that good. in our list, there are a couple of shows I do believe would be higher than that, but let's kind of go through the list now. Here's the list of everything that we've recorded. We've reviewed in total in this totality. Jeez, I can't speak tonight. It's late for us, okay? Starting off from the bottom, let's make our way up again. 33 is 91 Days at a 6.4. 32 is Banana Fish at a 7.3. 31 is Love Flops at a 7.45. Still, watch that. It's actually still really good.
Crazy.
30 is Suzume, the movie, 7.75. That's about right. 29, Dr. Stone, 7.8. That's season 1 of Dr. Stone. The other seasons are probably have it higher than that, to be fair. 28, Tokyo Revengers at 7.85. That's right. 27 was My Hero Academia season 4 specifically, 7.9, which is too high in my opinion. 26 is Gangsta at 7.95. 25 is Chivalry of a Failed Knight at 7.95. 24 is Bungo Stray Dogs at 8.4. 23 is Invincible at 8.45. That's season 1 of Invincible. 22 is Link Click season 1, 8.45. 21 is Darwin's Game, 8.5. Made in Abyss at number 20 at 8.5. Number 19, Entertainment District is at an 8.5. Demon Slayer's Sword Village Arc is 8.65. 17 is Vox Machina, the cartoon, 8.6. 16 is Steins Gate, 8.65. Number 15, because Tell is in the doc, so my eyes got confused. At number 15 is where Acca 13 falls. It's at an 8.7 even. Or not 8.7 even, but 8.7. Number 14 is Erased at 8.75. Number 13 is Beastars at 8.85, and that's on Tell's fault. Hey, Christian the Archivist, can you tell me, did he give us this information yet?
I think he did.
I forgot how high did I score Beastars for it to still be an 8.85?
He gave it a 9 out of 10.
Did I really?
No.
Okay, I was about to say that don't even sound right. Demon Slayer at 8.8. That's season 1. Bottom tier character Tomazaki season 2 at an 8.95. Is that season? Yeah, that is season 2 specifically. Arcane is at a 9.2. Great show. Can't wait till that comes back.
Phenomenal.
Number 9, Vinland Saga, 9.25. Great show. Grimgar, A Fantasy in Ash, 9.3. Number 7, Please Come Back, Fire Force at a 9.35. Number 6, My Teen Romantic Comedy, the entire series, 9.45. Deserving. Number 5, A Place Further in the Universe, 9.7. Still, I think about this show a lot, actually. Great show. Number 4, JJK, 9.8. Number 3, Clannad, 9.8. And 2, at number 2, Astro Lost in Space, perfect 10. And at number 1, Summertime Rendering, a perfect 10. Those are our scores of the shows we reviewed so far. Now, at the end of the season, we do reviews 2 times each season. This is the mid-season review. The end of the season review will be Windbreaker. Now, it's going to be a little bit tough with Windbreaker because I just found out that Windbreaker is just the core 1 at the end.
Oh, my God.
I know, unfortunately. So, core 1 of Windbreaker. I know. It's very, very much too good for that. So, we'll review in progress Windbreaker.
Yeah.
And that's at the end of the season. Please look forward to that. We appreciate to make this announcement, I also dropped a review for everybody in our Discord. So if you go to our Discord forums, there's I think it's titled Mic Check Waifu Review Scale for your use. You can use it with any anime. It don't matter what it is. Use it with anime. Use that scoring tactic. All you gotta do is read the instructions that's in that form. Super simple. You can type in your scores and it'll average it all out for you and everything, and drop your scores into the Discord thread so we can see them of anything. It doesn't have to be of Acca 13 or whatever you watch. Feel free to use that skill and review it and let us know what your scores is for your particular anime that you want to review. So make sure you join the Discord. MikeCheckWaifuWaifu.com. Go to the About section. Join the Discord. Now, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk spoilers for a few things, including Acca 13 if we want. So,
yeah,
let's take this quick break, and when we come back, what episodes we're going to spoil again specifically? The episode numbers?
Unnamed Memory,
which was
how that was a little sour this week.
Yeah, episode
Kaiju
6
number
of Unnamed Memory, and Kaiju number 8, episode 6s of those two, and then Acca 13. Anything final thoughts we want to say on that? We'll be right back after this. And welcome back to episode 254 of My Check Waifu. This is the spoiler talk. Spoiler 4, episode 6 of Kaiju number 8, and episode 6 Unnamed Memory, and then Acca 13 wrap. Full spoilers in Acca 13. So we're gonna start off with Kaiju number 8, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I said it in Discord, and actually, you know what? Let me bring it up exactly what I said, because I just added the a little behind the scenes tea, I guess. I just added the Discord thing to my Opera.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can bring it up on my browser too. It's pretty clean. Okay, where is
Discord mod?
Here we go. I'm gonna find Kaiju number 8. Because I want to get to specifically what I said. Here it is. I said, okay, I'm just ready for him to be found out at this point. It's dragging and I can't do much trope. It's getting old. Now, sure, he's helping a lot, and I put helping in quotes. Sure, he's helping a lot, but I want to see him pop off unabated. I say these things is because of, we always talk about how pacing is important to us. Hell, look at our reviews, right? This is episode 6 of Kaiju number 8. We have 6 more. I am tired of the trope being the exact same for the past 4 episodes. And it's like not just the same thing, but it's beating us over the head with the fact that he's incompetent. So right now, even though he's not technically, he's incompetent at being a base hunter or whatever, human or whatever. Now, I know the point of this is for them to show how he's adaptable and he knows the parts of monsters, and they try to play it up to make it seem like it's so important because he figured out the ecology basically of the monster, which is cool. Like I get the whole process and why it was that, because they try to make it seem like the big bad is so bewildered by the fact that somebody figured out the reproductive organs, and how did you have somebody figure that out? You have somebody to figure that out? Like it wouldn't be that complicated in the first place. It's like not special to know the ecology of the things you fight. Like, right? Like, I don't think that's enough for it to make it a big fucking deal, right? For them to beat us over the head with the fact that he's incompetent. So I'm sitting here watching it and I'm loving everything I'm seeing, and I'm seeing his best friend up there with that fucking gun give the order. Pow! He fired these big ass shots and it's looking cool, and everybody else around him kicking ass and showing off for each other and making each other better and getting better that way. Well, our guy is basically the same. Basically no type of growth. Basically trying to find his way in the situation. It's cool, but I think I'm ready for him to beat ass. So if it doesn't happen next episode, I'm going to take this down from being one of my favorite shows to like a mad decent show. That's how I feel.
All right. Don't shoot me.
Sure.
And I really enjoyed the episode, right?
Yeah, I think I did too. It was a good episode.
Hear me out. I really enjoyed the episode. The issue I'm having though isn't with this episode. It's with currently the anime. This feels like something I would enjoy more as a read. This feels like as a read, especially because there's more out at the moment. I don't have to abide, like how you said he has to abide by this BS that he's dealing with. I don't have to abide by waiting for a week for him to do nothing.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Nope. And
the thing is, I love what his character stands for.
Yes, me too.
I love his knowledge. I love what his ambition is. I even love when he got into when he was able to use his power and do something. You know what I mean? I'm like, this character's great. But this show is intentionally putting a damper on the most interesting character in the show.
Yes.
That shit sucks. That sucks.
Yes.
And it's like, this show could easily be crazy. It could be fire. And I mean, like, I'm not saying it ain't fire.
It is.
Right? I'm not saying it's not.
Right.
This show for this season could be borderline untouchable if they actually like gave their main character the love of like almost he needs plot armor in a sense, and I guess like fire.
It could be Fire Force level great. Right now it's cool. It's good.
It's mad decent.
It's
because
mad
that's
decent
what it is right now. And obviously we feel like we're gonna get some action next episode, right? But we're literally watching basically like Saitama not be Saitama in a sense. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
He's not living in he's not doing what Kendrick Lamar told Drake to do. Living your purpose. He's not doing that.
Yeah, I know. It's frustrating. It's honestly frustrating because of like maybe it'll be different if they gave him the bug in order to transform later. Mm-hmm. Like all this happened and it was happening and he got the bug like now. Now I think that would have been even like that would have been cooler. That would have been a cooler process to watch happen because then he would have transformed and it would have turned into a bigger deal because now his slight growth that he's had, slight growth as his human self with his little 1% and him, you know what I'm saying, learning the ecology and him getting it how he can while he like, because he's not capable would have seemed more satisfying. But because we know he has this fucking power to destroy any and just about everything, like it's just fucking, we're just sitting here like, okay, all right. We're going to keep pretending not to be strong.
Let me ultimately break this down. This is exactly what this show is. Animation 9.
Mm-hmm.
Characters 9. Let's say sound design 8.5, 9.
10
let's say
for me.
Yeah, 10, right? It's crazy, but I'm just saying going through quick ratings. Pacing 6.
Yeah.
Plot because of pacing 7, maybe a 6.5.
Yep.
And it's like because the idea, the concept is there and it's so like it's streamlined. You don't even. I almost wish, and I hate to say this, I almost wish at this point that Kaiju number 8 was just him cleaning up the mess that was made. Because why grant him this dream? He's achieving his dream. Why grant his dream for
like
him
episode 2
to be nothing? You know what I mean?
No, was that episode 2 or was that episode 1?
Yeah, it was episode 1.
It was episode 1. Jesus. So we've been sitting here for 5 episodes watching him fumble. And that's annoying because he doesn't have to fumble.
And the one time he don't fumble is for 3 seconds. And we don't even really get to see the full expectancy of it, what the full action of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and trust us, like we're not clamoring meathead watchers. Like we enjoy, like it sounds like we only give a fuck about the action. That's not the case. The case is that the dialogue isn't carrying enough for it to be this fucking slogfest of him stumbling over his own feet. Again, while I know he's helping, quote unquote, while I know he's for one, they're forcing it down your throat that he's helping, right? Because anybody can fucking figure out about the reproductive organs. Anybody can figure out about cutting it open and then finding their cores. Like anybody could do that if they just take the time to do it. So it's not that special. It's just that he took the time to do it because he can't do shit else according to this quote unquote plot. It's frustrating.
And I hate to say that it almost feels like because of how they've laid it forward that I can predict that this is what's going to be. They're going to continue to, he's going to eventually get more control over his power, right? But they're also going to he's going to eventually get more control over his power, right? But they're also going to mix that with the fact that he knows so much about the creatures that he starts pinpointing things, and then he uses all these I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but it's like, to me, it feels like they're making it so simple. And the reason that it almost sucks because the plot and pacing could be so much better had the main character be given a little bit more care in terms of like where they're heading and stuff like that. And
he's a good character.
He's a really good character. He's waited years, decades to get to this point, and here we are with waiting for him to still get to that point. You know what I mean? And
they keep smacking us over the head with the fact that his friend, like, you know, I want to be the best so he doesn't have to transform. I'm like, no, stop. That's not the point of this. The point it's not the point. If you continue to do good, which you are, he's doing great, which I don't give a fuck about him, to be fair. Like, I don't give a fuck about his situation, mostly because it seems like he's just in the way of our main character's actual progression. But I digress.
And they showed us to move a car, just to move a car. that he can partially just transform.
That was in episode 2 or 3 or whatever it was. Like
it don't make no sense, bro. It's not making sense. Why can you partially transform to move a car to prove a point, but you can't do it to save people? Is insane to me, because it's
or to make yourself look better.
Yeah.
And again, I know it's all for the inevitable buildup of him becoming extremely prominent in a very tight situation for everybody. He's probably going to even have to save, what's her name, Mika, whatever her fucking name is. He's probably going to have to save her with a full transformation punch or something like that. I know it's for that moment, so he can show up as that hero and one punch man the fuck out of something that's about to kill his childhood best friend. She figure out he's a kaiju, and then the shits ensue. Like it's very predictable in that aspect. But I'm tired of these episodes dragging us for him to just be useless for the most part, and to show, oh, look at how smart I am when it comes to certain. Like it's a pointless trope that is getting very, very old.
Very quickly.
Very, very quickly.
Shadow up out of there.
Because episode 1, we got the fucking bug. If they didn't do that, it'd be a different conversation. If he got the bug last episode, it would be a whole different conversation right now. I would be like, oh, this shit is great. Because now I get it. Because now he had time to now he doesn't have time to master the transformation or whatever. It's been like 3 months up into the point where he is now. Like, come the fuck on.
And it sucks because it was 3 months before he even got to the point to where he got right now.
Exactly.
But what sucks even more is that, like, God, I feel like we thrashing this dude. He didn't even use the power to pass the test that he'd been failing this entire time.
Right.
He did not use the power he got to pass this test the entire time when this was his last chance. You know what I mean?
Yep.
This almost feels like, you know how you keep saying it feels like you're being rewarded with your time for watching it. It's respecting your time. I almost feel like this does not respect my time, even though it's so good in so many ways.
Show.
Why are you not respecting my time, but still good? I feel like I'm being tricked here.
Yep. It has the best intro, the best outro probably too. No, outro still goes to a condition called Love for Me personally, but best intro easily this season. Not even close. It's pissed me off. Okay, let's move on because we are beating Kaiju Limb like we don't like it. Like, it's a good show. We like it, crazy. But
excited to watch it every week. I've been watching it live on Crunchyroll live. As soon as it stay live, I'm watching it.
I'm watching it. Oh, well, I'm not watching it live, but I'm watching it as soon as it drop. Okay, so moving on to Unnamed Memory. Now, the reason why, and to go back to Discord, because I believe it was our guy Fear, one of the producers. It was this is so, I'm sorry, having Discord up at the same time is blowing my mind. It's so cool. Where did he say it? He says Unnamed Memory is on the brink of falling off. The most recent episode felt off. And I said something about it did feel very off. That makes me but it makes me want to stick it out even more. And he said, I'm glad to know it wasn't just me. And said, I'm like, yeah, it was very weird. And the reason why I say that is because there was a situation in Unnamed Memory, the very beginning of it, where she did something to him, I think it was, and like she ended up being held by him and then giving him a kiss. Like, wait a minute. That felt off. Didn't feel right. It felt weirdly placed, oddly rushed, and it was very particular, only for it to be this quote unquote betrayal at the end of the episode mostly. And that's where it just felt terrible. I know it's going to come to an explanation later, because obviously this guy is a sore spot for her. So she's using her, I guess, quote unquote, love for him, even though she has no love for him. Like, it's clear that she has no love for him, but she's trying to protect Oscar. I was about to call him Isaac. Oscar. It's like, it's all like a very obvious, again, use the word tropey, weird. I'm going to protect you by going with him and following him. So to prevent him from ruining your kingdom, I'm going to go help him with it. It just didn't feel right as far as Tanasha's character, as far as, everything that's happened up until this point. Like, it just didn't feel like the appropriate thing for her to do. Like, we know this witch is extremely powerful. I can guarantee you she's probably way more powerful than whoever the fuck this guy is now. So for her not to take care of the situation in the way she know how, and instead show this quote unquote betrayal and then possibly harm an entire city, which she obviously is not, but they said that she did attack a city. It was a city being attacked led by her. So it just didn't feel right. I don't know. It was a bad episode, and it was episode 6. Obviously, it was supposedly this is the turning point for this particular episode or show, and it was all the pacing was off. It was a jumbled mess, in my opinion. Especially with the start of that awkward ass kiss thing that happened, and it didn't feel earned or warranted at all.
Yeah, this episode felt like it was supposed to be like a dream, I guess, in a sense. Like, this was not something about this. Like, I agree. I understand that. Yeah, it definitely was off, but I felt like it was intentionally off, if that makes sense. Like, they intentionally tried to make like her act out of character. We know that she used the barrier to hide memories from him. So he didn't actually know everything that transpired. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say the same thing that we just said about Acca 13. It was convenient.
But in the most rushed way possible.
Yeah, and this convenience was not as rewarding as like we were talking about with Acca 13. I enjoyed this episode in terms of like the emotions that were there, because I felt like yes, all of that was extremely obvious, but the emotions were still there. There was still much. Well, I mean, for like Tanasha and Oscar, I feel like it was setting us up for obviously something, because it was very obvious. Yeah. Like, why is she giving him the dragon? Why is she doing things that she normally would not do? Like the kiss, for instance. That's not something she would have like. Maybe the embrace kind of scenario would have been one thing, but the kiss, that was a whole next step that even he necessarily didn't expect. So it was kind of out of place. But like I said, I feel like maybe that was intentionally out of place, and I know that I'm probably like giving it the benefit of doubt, because I think that they're going to demonstrate what the overall thesis is here, right? Or what the overall meaning is here at some point. And this episode does leave a lot just untold and unfinished. And it's like, what's the purpose of how do we move forward with this? Because even with finding out who the guy is, it almost would have been better if they had given us less details about him in this episode. Probably, yeah. Because it drove it forward, but they could have just shown us the ritual that he attempted to do, because we know for sure he's more powerful than her. We know why. Because before he attempted to do the ritual, she was already, well, we know for sure she's more powerful than him. Okay. We know why, because when he attempted the ritual, she was already stronger than him. He draws the power out. That power wasn't even her power. She just accepted more power into herself. So now, on top of what she already was, is compounded with this black magic that absorbed souls from her basically like kingdom. Exactly. So it's like, yeah, of course she might be stronger than everybody around, period. It don't even matter who it is. But what they left for me that felt just the most out of place was an actual reason. Because let's say we know she's stronger than him. 100%. What's her tie to him? Like, isn't it an emotional tie? Because you were there when he manipulated the situation and tried to drag you under and kill you. You know what I mean? You were there for the whole planning of that. None of that makes sense. What's the relationship tie there? Yeah. And I'm thinking like maybe she's gonna give him the power and know his body can't handle it, so he just explode. I don't know, bro. And that's the issue. Is like, this is not a good I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. like what happened, because you go from beautiful storytelling, beautiful writing, beautiful objective, beautiful even pseudo political intrigue with the last episode with the wizard guy coming, and then the other maid being somebody who's trying to get something, and like it was all well done as far as the writing goes. For all to just happen in this episode, she kisses him, she gives him the dragon, she does all this to say, I'm going to betray you to a guy that killed my entire village.
A meaningless conversation, backstory.
Including trying to kill me. Okay. He's did this. I am extremely powerful now. I've been looking for this guy seemingly to get revenge for him killing my entire city and trying to kill me. But I'm going to pretend like I like him, all for it to create this weird Oscar, I'm gonna come save you, Tanasha situation by pretending like, oh, I'm gonna go kill you, Tanasha, because he's been training with her so she could be killed by him. Like, it's just it all fell apart within this one episode that just did not feel right at all. Like, everything that they've been building, even if they would have went the simple route of Tanasha's so strong that she could lose control of the power that she absorbed, and that Oscar needs to be the one to kill her or something like that, would have been way more valid of a storytelling, as simple as that is, than her going to a man that killed her entire village and tried to kill her and pretending like she likes him, because it's clear that she doesn't. Like, it's all
she don't care,
fabricated. It's silly. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So yeah, that is the reason why I felt off, not only to Fear, but probably to me too. What a strange episode. I 100% agree. But I feel like it came across as, I'm saying intentionally off, but not in a, like, I feel like they gave us this intentional off, but didn't know how to fully sell it in a way that would have kept this good. And they could have kept it better by removing what's his name? Because it was so bad though, I lost all the emotional attachment to the characters.
Yeah, and I can agree with that.
Like I don't know.
Like, I know I enjoyed the emotional part of this episode still, because I felt like I'm probably giving them the benefit of the doubt where you ain't feeling that generous. But yeah, I feel like I'm still willing to give it the benefit of the doubt, because it's still overall, it's given me enough to go off of before this to say that, well, I mean, this show was good before we got to this point. Maybe it'll stay good at least a little bit longer. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna, obviously, like I said in our Discord, like I definitely want to still watch. Like, I'm intrigued even more about why the fuck they went that route. You know, like I need to know. So I'm definitely gonna stick with it above all else. But yeah, I mean, is there anything you want to add about Acca? I think what I said in the review was the only bad part about the characters was the second villain, the twist, right? The dark skinned villain guy. So the dark skinned villain, yeah, that part sucked. I thought he was a horrible antagonist. The white haired guy, he was the perfect antagonist because his reasoning was true, right? It was reasonable and believable. And the dark skinned guy, I forget his name, but his message was like, it was like, he was supposed to be the underhanded, sneaky one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's gonna be ran by Acca, blah blah blah. Like,
and it was a late sell on his, and he was part of the reason why the characters to me didn't land quite so well 100%. Like, because I thought a lot of the characters were good, but he was one of those characters that was like, I mean, if you had kept him out, the story would have been the same almost. Like,
well, no, because I think they still needed somebody to be the fall guy, I guess, essentially, because the white hair guy, his reasoning was, like I said, it was true. He wanted to just keep Acca around, while the other guy wanted our guy, the main guy, to be king so he can control him. Which, you stupid as fuck if you think you would be able to control Gene. Like, he's a fucking genius.
And he's also, and they've shown since the very beginning, he's extremely perceptive. That's the crazy thing about him.
Like, how would he not know that, right?
Yeah, and he's extremely perceptive, even when like not attempting to be. So it's like, come on, man. It all comes together in the end with his perception getting us here.
Right.
The things that he's observed and seen, that's his actual job. So yeah, for them to introduce this character and, you know, on top of what we have for that is, I mean, like I said, I think that we could have removed him in general. We may have gotten a better story, but I mean, yeah, it was great regardless, but.
Yeah, I think they needed him though, unfortunately.
Like you said, to be the fall guy, we need someone to take the ultimate fall because yes, the white hair, what's his name, Grosslier, his actual intention aligns with everyone else's.
Yep. And everybody, it was great is everybody was on the same page in very different ways. Like, you didn't know if the department chief was, if she was, or he, no, yeah, she, I forget what her title was, but she ended up becoming like the head of Acca at the end. But she was fantastic. I loved his little sister. She was great. I loved when they interwove the backstory with his mom being who she was and learning where Gene got his perceptiveness from. It was all that shit was just so well done within it. Mm-hmm. That's why like the characters were so high, and then the reason why they weren't perfect was because of the villain fall guy was just like, yeah, but you're gonna do this for me, so we could do this, and it was just like, but why though? Like, why was he the one with the most power of everybody? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just didn't feel right after that. But I also, again, what I said before was I love the fact that the goal of this entire espionage or political intrigue was just to keep the peace that they've had all for 100 years. And even though they kept the peace for 100 years, if that one thing happened, if the prince, the dumbass prince, just abolished Acca, it would have ruined all of that probably, because then these districts would be vying for who's going to be the leader of what, and it would have just been bad. So I love that whole story part of it. I love the show in general. It was great. It was great. Okay. With that, so if you don't have anything else to add, I'm at Polow Barfly on all social media.
I'm at King Telliano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at Mike Check Waifu on Twitter and at Mike Check Waifu on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And as always, Mike Check.
You're now tuned into Mike Check Waifu.